Mr. Zachariah. Last night I did notice that one of the teams, the judges were meeting last night, doing some preparation. One of the teams was kind of offering help to us. They wanted to get us food or get us drinks. So I'm not quite sure how to handle that. But we've forgiven them from last night. So the judges will be sitting at table number 2. Okay, so you'll have to spread. We'll have 3 chairs. I am the Chief Justice. Oh, yeah. We will be looking at I just want to share briefly how we will judge this. We will be looking at presentation. 30 marks. You know, this is ELI. 30%, 30 marks presentation. Whether it's clear, respectful, gave 3 claims, persuasive, concise, projected well. Then we give 30 marks for content, material. Does it? Sydney from Namibia. He was my former judge 6 months ago. We have Ephesians, Conrad. We have, isn't it Samuel? Or who else is on emergency? Sunga from Zambia. Okay, good. So let's get those chairs. Yes. But the opposition is this way. Yeah. The opposition. And as Chris goes. All right. One time I was driving in Zimbabwe, and we were driving out in eastern Zimbabwe, and there was a military vehicle, and we were in the bush. So I waved to them like this to say hello, but then they went like this. So my hand went, ooh. Okay, we have the opposition. We have 3 members. JP from Kenya. All the way from the Republic of South Africa. Rainier. And then we have from the country that they say when they sneeze, Africa catches a cold. Yes. Nigeria. All right, now, the way that we will do it is that we will have 5 minutes opening statement. All right? Then 5 minutes opening statement. And then we take a short break, is that right? Yes. And then they will because then you will meet after the opening statement very briefly to talk about your plan. And then one by one, 3 minutes, and then 3 minutes. And what they're supposed to do is do a little rebuttal and then present their claim. Then 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. You could go in whichever order. All right? Then we will do something that is very African. And when I said this word to my Babe Zachariah, he knew what I was saying. In Indaba. Or in Setswana, Hopla. Or Lesotho, Pizza. We will have the group do 1 minute comments. Now we need to split the group in half. We need to have half of you be on the ruling party side and half of you on the opposition party side. And no intimidation, okay? Okay, no intimidation. And then we'll have 1 minute comments. 1 minute comments, back and forth. We'll probably do maybe 5 on each. Very African. So we're all involved. Okay. Then we will take a short recess while they will meet to then do their closing statement. Closing statement. Then the judges will give their impartial conclusion and verdict to you. Okay? So we understand the rules of engagement. All right, now let's split the class. It seems like, okay, are we too much this side? How many do we have? 3?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are from the emerging leader side, as you've heard. And as you all know what we are looking at, development and mentoring processes of leadership development in the African context. So my team and I, we know this is a very big subject, and we wanted to make it very specific and look at 3 very important and critical areas in our communities, in our nations, that we are going to take our stand and argument on. We are going to look at the area of politics and how leadership and mentoring development is being practiced in politics, as well as the second area we're going to look at is the traditional aspect of our communities, the local community traditional method of leadership development. What is that? Then thirdly, we are going to look at the church, the spiritual aspect. How is leadership development being practiced within the African context, within the church? And our stand is, times are changing, seasons are changing, there is time for everything. And what worked before is not always guaranteed to continue to work in the future. That means we need new methods, new strategies, and new means and new ways of bringing up strategies that's going to develop leaders. Strategy that's going to develop emerging leaders to take the vision of transforming Africa to the next step. So our argument is, there has been some form of development earlier. Now, should we continue with that? How do we know whether we should continue with that? Is it producing results? Yes or no? Our standpoint is, there are no results, but leadership is being highly esteemed in our continent. So that means we need new methods, we need new strategies, and we are standing on the side of new strategies, new methods of developing leaders within the African context. And that is our state, and each and every one of us are going to present from those 3 categories what is the current status, what are the implications of that, and what is the way forward. Thank you very much.
Great, honorable judges and the entire class of amazing leaders in Africa. I want first of all to say that our worthy opponents have a wonderful, wonderful motion. But I think they have gotten it wrong from the beginning.
Wow. And
why is that? Because today, the topic is views and practices of leadership development and mentoring in Africa from either the perspective of an existing leader or an emerging leader. It is not about what has worked or has not worked. It is about views and practices. Okay? And my team will belabor this point for the next few minutes. And by the end of it all, you will have made the decision that truly our perspective from an existing leader is the working perspective. Okay? And how will we do this? We will divide this and break it down for you into 2 things. Number 1, how does an existing leader view leadership development? Then we're going to answer that by the practices from that leader. Then we are going to give you a practical example. It's not about name calling. It's not about bad leaders in Africa. Okay? And that is the disclaimer. It's about the views and the practices of leadership development. It's not about what has worked or what will work. It's about the views and the practices of leadership development. That being said, I want you to begin asking yourself one question. Are you already a leader, or are you going to be a leader? We want you to begin asking yourself, are we here because an emerging leader had a view, or an existing leader had a passion and a dream for Africa? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So now we will take a short recess. They will meet to consult. And I think even the groups can kind of talk a little bit in your Indaba. Okay? Because we want a whole large group participation. Thank you.
Because there's a bit of a change. In other words, from what your presentation was, and to help both sides, we would like to restate that the theme is to prove. The question is, will the emerging leaders do a better job of effective transformation compared to the current leaders? So you present 3 arguments each. And as of now, there's no, we have not heard, except for this team, you only presented 2 and you went off. So we need to make sure that you stick to the same theme. Answer the question, will the emerging leaders do a better job, in effecting transformation compared to the current leaders?
Here, research. Stuff that has been researched. Okay, not just a few, but stuff that you've got from the researchers. Okay? For now, there's not much research.
Yeah.
Okay.
We know you are also the political commissar responsible for youth in our great party. Although your age is 64, is it 65 now? Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to bring out to the platform or to the table the perceptions and the practices that our current leadership has in terms of leadership development and mentoring. For me, I have not seen yet if they have any intentional plan. If it is present, then maybe it is hidden to us. We have not yet seen it. What we have seen is that youth in our great party have been used as campaign tools. And after that, that's much of the mentoring that we have seen. And after the elections, it's all about them getting some positions where they are going to be corrupt and so on. But in terms of developing leaders who will take after you, in terms of leaders who will be able to start something that can continue with our hard-earned independence that you talk about, and we are so much grateful for the independence that you have managed to bring to us. But we have not seen that intentional plan from you to develop young leaders, emerging entrepreneurs to be able to take up after you. Because as we can see, you are the political commissar in charge of the youth, but you are about 65 years old now. So it means that there is no youth who have been who have been developed in that area, or there are no youth that you are mentoring? That's what we would like to ask you, if you can answer to that one.
My dear fellow existing leaders and emerging leaders, there's a Ugandan proverb that says, leadership is best taught by an existing leader. That's where the problem comes in with the strategy and the planning of the emerging leaders. They are not existing leaders. They want to train the existing leaders. They want to tell them what to do. And there's a problem in that. And in the mentoring, as existing leaders, we view leadership as extremely important and a big responsibility that is on the shoulders of this leader, not to be taken lightly by any young leader. And therefore, mentoring is taking place all around us in the African context. It's taking place through the family, through Ubuntu, that we are practicing this African cultural heritage. From our side as existing leaders, we believe and view leadership development, especially in the context of experience. You see, you need to have the experience. It's like good wine that matures over time. Our dear brother Della yesterday said that leadership, good leadership, is linked with wisdom and integrity.
On points.
Something that is not gained by just attending a developmental process.
Amen.
It is over time developed through experience that one gains through spending time with other leaders. And we believe that we are doing that and creating the environment for the younger leaders to experience, to grow in this experience. So yes, even in the church, the political environment and tradition, this is being practiced. Yes, there might be places where it's not happening, but that does not mean it's not happening. The fact that some people misuse the Bible does not say the Bible is not the truth. Think about that.
The panel of judges, our coaches in this house, our members of the house, and the honorables here, seated in front of us here, protocols observed. The previous speaker here just told us that they're creating an environment for emerging leaders. It is very evident that the environment is not there. And he was quoting Dr. Della, and Dr. Della told us last year that actually African leaders do not create the environment for the emerging leaders to come up with initiatives and take risks. It is very evident. All of us sitting here, including our emerging leaders here, will agree with me that the environment is not there. He also took me back to, he said the mentorship and leadership development is happening in every sector of society, including families. I'd also like us to take us to one of the things that we'll talk about, because we say that we're going to talk about three areas, three crucial areas where leadership is practiced in society, and that is religious, political, as well as traditional. The families in the traditional context. How many of us seated in this place were adequately prepared for leadership? And we've been raised by existing leaders. If not for Christ, I repeat, if not for Christ, I don't want to continue. All of us know that we'll not be in this place if it wasn't for Christ. So even in families, we can see that mentors will not prepared for leadership. I'll still go back to what Dr. Bekele taught us, that good leaders are not parents in courts, because parents also are so scared to take a risk for us to go out in society. Two of my friends yesterday, we had a chat with two of my friends. One of them said that when she was growing up, she was in a girls' brigade in her church. And when they stood up to sing, her friends were not starting the song very well. And so she took the initiative to start, and she could see the faces of her parents and sisters seated in the audience. They were all going like she's going to mess up. And so she stopped. That friend of mine has a very good alto, but up to now she doesn't believe she can sing. That is coming from where we're coming from. Even when you try to initiate, they're bringing you down. That is very evident. And also in the traditional, you discover that leadership only changes after death. As long as the king or the chief is in leadership, nobody will be able to take up that leadership role. And actually, the people that are mentored possibly are the ones that are in the line tree, the family tree of the existing chief. Others actually in the community, in the village setup, they are not even considered. So we need to know that the environment is not there in the traditional, and in the traditional, it's in the village context as well as in the family context. We were not prepared for leadership. Some of us, it took ELI and it took God to be in leadership.
Okay, honorable judges, my fellow emerging leaders and existing leaders and all the programs observed. It is interesting that my worthy opponents made mention of the fact that the emerging leaders are actually being developed by the existing leaders. And also, it was also interesting to discover that, you see, she mentioned about the fact that the environment is not created. But I think that the emerging leaders are missing the point. They are seeing challenges as a room for them to fail and not opportunities. If you think that the environment is not available, look very well. You discover that we have made enough environment available for you to get developed. Secondly, also, the existing leaders set the bar very high because we know that leadership is it's a very, very serious business. It's not taken lightly. And so the bar is always high. Therefore, the emerging leaders should look out for those challenges that will help them to bring out the best in them. That is why the existing leaders make it at times difficult, things difficult, so that we can provoke them to be more creative. Now, to hit on my point, leadership development, we view it as very, very important. It is for the benefit of the entire community. Okay, if you look at our traditional setting, you will discover that every chief wants to make sure that whoever is coming after him is able to not only take up the responsibility of sitting on the throne, but is able to relate with the people in the community effectively and in a loving manner, in such a way that they feel that they are cared for. If we go back a little bit again and look at the church, it is the same. We know that there are ministries today that are being owned by individuals, and these individuals don't take the issue of leadership lightly when it comes to the future of their ministry. And the process that is being laid down is always well calculated. There is planning, like the professor said, that we don't have a international plan. There is planning on ground. We plan, we write it down, and we begin to execute it. The fact that some leaders don't articulate the plans, A, B, C, D, doesn't mean that there's no plan. There's always a plan to develop new leaders. And so, again, I want to say that leadership is holistic. We approach leadership development and mentoring in a holistic way. We don't just focus on one area. We look at it, all round, because there is an expectation of accountability. There is expectation of responsibilities. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We are hearing and we are understanding everything that is being presented here in front by the opposition, and we really appreciate their input, what they are bringing to the table. But before I come to my point, I would just like to address some of the matters that they have brought up. starting with the passion that the existing leaders have and are speaking about. But ladies and gentlemen, passion produces results.
Yeah.
Having passion will do no good if there are no results. Right? And as for already existing leaders that brought our continents to where they are today, to the so-called independence, well, it is a historical and known fact that our great leaders, existing ones, have brought independence. Thank you very much for that. We acknowledge that. But we cannot expect as emerging leaders for them to build our economies. Where are the existing leaders? It is now the existing leaders to take the baton and move on to create the sustainable economic development in our African nation. We can't expect them who brought the independence to continue. What are we doing as existing leaders? And as for the other issue of platforms being created, environment, colleagues, where are the environments? Can you name one? We want to know them, we want to see them. Where are they? Is it corruption? Is it nepotism? The chief and his son? Where are the results? The problem also is that, whereas from a biblical point of view, the leaders to be developed is very clear. Those who have certain qualities, godly characters, are the ones to be put in leadership according to scripture. Not those who are born in a chief's family. There are people out there who have godly characters and the qualities of being a servant leader, but because they are not in a chief, or because they are not in a chief's family, they don't have the opportunity to be developed, or whatever sense there is. If there is a development, it is according to the existing leaders' agenda and plans. Plans might be there. As a matter of fact, some of our African countries are known for great plans and strategic plans, but the execution, it is very poor. Experience has been mentioned as the only thing in the context within this development. One wise author wrote and said, experience is an odd teacher. Experience first gives the lesson, the test, then the lesson. Whereas normal education gives the test before the lesson. While let there be platforms where the emerging leaders have the practical test before they get the lesson. That is the context when we speak of experience to develop leaders. And to come to my point, Bill Bright quotes Sumner Wemp in My Life is Not My Own, and he says, pride, arrogance, and a haughty look, and I have need of nothing attitude are killing our churches. Page 22. It all starts with the attitude and the mindset that you have. That is going to determine how you are going to lead in any setting. Think about that. What is the mindset and the thought and the attitude of our existing leaders when they think about developing emerging leaders? Think about that. Thank you.
I have to thank my worthy opponent for delivering my points. He's talked about passion. We don't have a passionometer to measure the passion of an emerging or an existing leader. So that one is out. We continue. Number two, the same emerging leaders, if their car broke down and they went to a mechanic, they would want a mechanic with 10 years experience, not somebody who was coming out of school. True or false? True. And we continue. Now, to my example. Okay, in Africa, where we are right now, the existing leaders have initiated the Emerging Leaders Initiative. Our very own transformational leaders training over the past 2 years has been initiated by existing leaders like Dr. Bekele, Coach Mike, and the others. Those are existing leaders. They have created a platform and they've given us an area that we can continue to grow. Okay? Would you not agree, my worthy opponents, that leadership is a very serious thing as modeled by the existing leaders? Would you not agree that good leadership is linked to wisdom and integrity? You didn't just happen to be in ELI. They are nurturing you to develop you. Okay? Will you not agree that leadership is a journey, not a destination? Will you not agree that mentorship is relational and it is a privilege? Will you not agree that leadership development is holistic and it's the way to live on? All things that we have been taught by the existing leaders in Africa. Remember, I said as we began, this is not about the bad things that have happened. It is the views and the practices. And as the existing leaders in Africa, we are continuing to see they are creating areas for us to continue to grow. The only thing I have to question and ask my worthy opponents is to destroy the disease of entitlement. You're not entitled to a position just because you're young. You have to earn it. Thank you.
Okay, good. You heard the saying of Ubuntu. I am because we are. We are because I am. Now let's hear 1 minute comment from this. Yes.
My fellow comrades, if you do not change, you become extinct. And everything that is not moving is either dead or about to die. And anything dead stinks. And my advice to you is that you change. Our university, our biggest university in our country, was built in 1979. And the only thing that you existing leaders have done to that university in a bid to develop it is to plant 2 guava trees, of which one of them was destroyed by the students early last year in a bid to look for something to eat. So you have only 1 guava tree that is left at that university. That is what you have done in terms of development. My president sleeps 20 hours in a day. What will you do to develop our nation? If you do not go peacefully, we will remove you violently.
Okay, 1 minute.
Prince. Can you take the video? Are you going to give a point? No, I'm not. I want to give a point. So
I just want to clarify also, especially to this group, that this is a debate. It is not a role play. I think you need to get that in your mind, okay? It's a debate, it's not a role play. My challenge with this view is a lack of humility and arrogance that is coming out, and lack of respect for people who spend a lot of time and practically their lives to build churches and the countries, and that kind of arrogance just for me, when I see that, it's a very bad sign, because emerging leaders cannot develop themselves. They need leaders who's been weathered, tried, tested, and they need to have mentorship, coaching from leaders who has been there and done that. You cannot do it by yourself. You need the existing leaders.
Good.
Yeah, as I listen to you and I hear you talking about plan, I tend to wonder. You have the plan, beautiful one, but where are the implementations? Yes, look at the structure we're in. It was founded long time ago. But is there creativity that you can see here? So, what I think we should be looking at are the opportunities that the globalization is giving us. Today, we have internet. Without thinking of the future, and we continue to bask in the treasure and general. So, I think that with the new ideas that are coming, we should all know that our leaders have failed. They have not given us opportunity. They have killed our initiative. Therefore, there's a need for us to grow and to look for other opportunities.
Well, it's one thing to turn a lot of pages and tell us different theories, and it's another thing to show us what you have done practically. You are all here because of the existing leaders. It's not because of the emerging leaders. You are here to tell us theories that you have never proven to show anyone. The world is not here because of you. The world is here because of the existing leaders. The other thing, we have good plan and we are not implementing. The problem, you emerging leaders are out there blaming us. You are not cooperating. Why? Because you want the chair, not to implement those plans. We have been creating environments for you to come and cooperate and be part of it. But your problem is you always want to have the authority, the chair, and you run it. But here what we say to you, we have brought the world this far, and you have done nothing to that. But our advice to you is that you cooperate with existing leaders and try to do their plans so that this world can be changed. Thank you.
Okay. He said that the emerging leaders have not done things that we can see. But there are many examples. Just to cite a few. Bill Gates, he left university before
emerging African youth leaders and to facilitate their participation in processes of national development and regional integration. And that's a fact. And those are some of the three issues and the greatest challenges confronting our great continent today. Now, crucially, if Africa is to address these challenges and convert its uncultivated talents into creative talents, it must create opportunities for innovative thinking and a sound knowledge base among Africa's young population. You also need to know that almost half the population of Africa are youth. And those are going to be tomorrow's leaders. And they are emerging, and they are going to be tomorrow's leaders. So there has to be an intentional plan. An environment has to be created. An environment, opportunities have to be created for these emerging leaders to flourish. We are not arrogant, as you might think. We want to work with you as our leaders. We want to follow you. We want to be good followers. But we want to know, and we want to have an intentional plan that is clear, an intentional plan that we are taking action on, an intentional plan that is being implemented and that is being followed, that we can be part of, and then create those opportunities for us, create the environment. Because the facts that we have here are proving and are putting it to be evident that you are not doing much in terms of developing and mentoring leaders. Because for all the past years that we have been around, what we can just see is the deterioration of what we inherited even when we got independence, the deterioration even of the values that we received. And also, on the family setup, when we were talking about the issue of Ubuntu, we need to train our children whilst they are still young. I remember there's an article I read about Michael Phelps. I don't know if you know about Michael Phelps, one of the fastest swimmers. Michael Phelps his parents started training him to swim when he was still 3. And it's all about practice and encouragement. So we need to identify, not to force children. At one school that I went to, I was told what to study in A-level, not what I wanted to study. They tell you what you are supposed to study. So those are some of the things that we feel that you as our leaders, we can work with you. We are not arrogant. As you saw our strategy when we're discussing with you, we are giving you all the respect and we are giving you all the honor that you want us to give you, and we are giving you. That's the strategy that we have used. But what we just want from you is allow us to work with you, create an environment for us, create opportunities for us, and Africa will move from where it is. Thank you.
There is no shortcut to the top of a palm tree. That is our premise as existing leaders. And currently we are doing a very good job as existing leaders. Why? When you look across Africa, every campus right now has a faculty and a course on leadership development. Every church has a program on leadership development. Every country wants everybody to go through leadership development. That is happening because of existing leaders. Existing leaders. This is not an issue about age. And that's why we want to define for you as we end who an existing leader is. This is somebody who has the ability to make things happen and is making things happen. This is somebody who is in a position of power or influence in the society. This is somebody who has been there and done it. And has the scars to say, man, I have come a long way. This is somebody who is perceived to be successful and hence commands respect, favor, and faith. So my worthy opponents is not about age. What we are saying is that currently the existing leaders have the best view of leadership development and mentoring. Why? It's already happening. They have begun and they are doing so. Could we have done more? Yes. But are we doing something now? Yes. I don't see anywhere where somebody, just because of your age, you're entitled to leadership. What we are saying as the existing leaders, you have to pay the price. You have to go and run the distance so that when you get there, you will be able to say, I am leading because I have worked with existing leaders. Thank you very much.
Can I have the existing leaders? I want to debate them for 3 minutes.
Existing leaders.
You mean you can? You can? Yeah. We give you a try? Yeah.
All right.
Go.
Just say it.
I have carefully listened to what you have said. And I have high respect because you are our leaders. Didn't you say top of palm tree? Didn't you say it takes time and patience to go to the top of palm tree? But what are you doing on top of palm tree? Are you not supposed to be among the palm trees? That's the problem we have in Africa. Our leaders think that they are at the top, always. They disconnect themselves from the people they are supposed to serve. When are you going to humble yourself and come down from the top of palm tree? And you were also right when you say we have a plan, but we don't articulate our plan. You are exactly right. That's the problem. We don't know what vision you have because you don't communicate to us. Because you always feel you are up there and you don't communicate. So we don't know where you are leading us. We are blind. We don't see the future because we are not hearing from you. You come up with a plan, it's in your office. It's not with the people. And you also say churches are owned by some individuals. Didn't you say that? Yes, you did. And that is the problem we have. You think that you are the owners of everything, even including the church. You own everything. Even the nations, you think that they are a piece of your property. You can do whatever you want to do. And you always intimidate people, your followers. You have might. You have power. And today, to demonstrate that, your intimidating purpose and action, you used Jesus. You know, by Promise. We have heard so many promises. Even this morning, you promised us so many things, but we see little done. That is the problem in Africa. We have many leaders who promise great things, but deliver little. The reason you don't work with the people, we have energy, we have enthusiasm, we have passion to develop our nations, to work with you, but you don't include us. We are not included. You always tell us, you are children, be patient. But these are the children who are going to lead the nation, the churches, the communities tomorrow. You have to include us. You were also children. When you were at our age, you were children, right? Now you are leaders. We are also going to be leaders tomorrow. You have this responsibility to develop us. You know, we have problems. You don't create the right environment for the learned people. If we analyze the profile of the leaders we have today, you know, they are either former soldiers or people who have little education. And we have many people who are educated, but you see them as threats. When they want to serve the nation, they are threatened by you. Therefore, they leave the country. Do you know how much it costs to produce a medical doctor in Kenya? Do you know how many years it takes to produce a teacher in Ethiopia? It takes about 20 years to produce a medical doctor in Kenya and $40,000 to produce a medical doctor in Kenya. But tell me, where are those medical doctors today? The Kenyans, they are in Europe. They are in America. So who is going to treat the sick people of Kenya? How much money does it take to produce a teacher in Ethiopia? But tell me, who are those educated teachers of Ethiopians? They are in the US. They are in different places in the world. They are in the Middle East. Who is going to teach the population of Ethiopia? That is 50%, which is below the age of 20 years. Tell me, who is going to teach them? All our teachers are leaving the country because they don't have the right environment. That is the situation we are in. I met recently an Ethiopian refugee who lived outside Ethiopia 30 years, and he worked hard to create money. And he thought that if he brought that money to Ethiopia, he would contribute to the development of his nation. He came back with his money after working for 30 years. And you know what happened? The government officials said, give us half of that money, we will help you. Is that the environment which is going to help us to grow and to overcome poverty in Africa? Tell me. I've asked you so many questions. Tell me. You also tell me. Thank you.
You shouldn't go.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Thank you. The tribunal has met, and it was a very nice debate. Thank you very much. I thought, in summary, and I'll quickly talk about the categories. It's true. This, if we look at a chronological timeline, this group started off fast, but this group recovered. Very nice. From the presentation side, where we look at clear, respectful, gave 3 claims, persuasive, concise, projected well. Here we had a tie. What happened was we felt that the group, the affirmative side, was calm in their presentation. This side seemed to be a little emotional. All right. Both groups were clear. Both groups were concise. I thought this group was more cognitive, persuasive. This side maybe effective. But on this side, the volume of one of the presenters was rather low a little bit. So that's how it became tied on the presentation side. On the content side, we felt that both groups gave opinions. You know, Della said this, Bekele said this. It's okay to quote that. Both sides seem to be somewhat weak on the data, exactly what's happening. Yeah. It would have been nice, for instance, when this group was saying corruption, nepotism, it would have been nice to give, some data about it. Yes. Just to say that you're corrupt and that, you're misusing our funds. But we felt that both were concise. We felt that this group, the affirmative side, gave good, better rebuttals to the comments than this side, though both were close. So we would, on the content side, we would give this side better, just by a couple of marks, 25 to 22. Okay, we have some people from different countries with different backgrounds of marking. So anyway, then we have conclusion, and I thought the conclusions were very nice. Both were respectful, but I have to say, the youth. Okay, one thing that was nice about the existing did admit that we were not perfect. And if they would not have said that, we would have really hammered them more. Okay? And the youth, came like a child, very respectful, asking for respect from the elders. But generally, we felt that the conclusion was better. It was close, but there again, we favored the emerging side. So at the end of the debate, we gave, in total number of points, 75 to the emerging side and 69 to the existing side. In the British system, those are two very good marks, all right? In the French system, it's very good marks. I mean, excellent marks, all right? So now, we also awarded the debater, the top person of the debate. This comes from Dr. Louie, because she says in debate tournaments, you give the winning team, but you also present the winning debater. And this debater was not perfect. This debater was a person who was quiet in the volume of the voice. So this debater needs to project the voice better, projected to the back corner of the room, as they say in public speaking. But we felt this debater is concise. And this debater had the most of the data, most of the cognitive data to present in the debate. And we haven't yet decided on what award it is, okay? We don't even know what award we're giving to the emerging side, the affirmative side. But for the top debater, and we don't have an award yet, it's Sydney from Namibia. Plan, Sydney, in ELI there's always an action plan. Time. Project the voice and time. So thank you very much. It's time to go for tea. Wait, Dr. Louie wants to share something and then we'll have the Kelly.
Yeah, I'd like to also emphasize that the strength of the opposing side is you emphasize experience. But you somehow failed to point out that not all those experience is good. Which to me, a mark of a good debater is to also show some humility on the side. Though you support your claims, you also need to show that you're not perfect by saying, yes, but you did say we're not perfect, but you hammered experience. Because of that, you have nothing. And again, what really made them win was the consistency of the appeal to work together, provide us with an environment where we could. So that was the strength of that one.
And I have a gift for the winning team. From the winning team, one person has already that gift. So I'm going to give the third gift to the best presenter from the audience. And I have selected that person as well because I was observing. So the two from the winning team, you come and receive your gift. And from the audience, the person who presented the mature opinion is Fred.
Thank you. Okay, good. Back to the MC.
Okay, thank you. Let's clap for all of us.